'Tis the season of live-action adaptations, particularly for the video game franchises. One of the most popular and influential gaming sagas of all time, Halo, has finally made its way onto the world of TV series on Paramount+. Set in a different timeline from the previous canon altogether, the show has picked up quite a few details from not only the game itself, but also from the Halo books. With 4 episodes out now, we've rounded up all the nifty little secrets hidden in the newest TV show that you might have missed on your first watch. Let's get into it. A SpongeBob SquarePants Easter egg. While many of the hidden details in the live-action series are a nod to the gaming franchise, this little Easter egg is a wink to the corporate and platform synergy. You'd have to be a little eagle-eyed for this one, but if you go back to the second episode of the series, Unbound, you'll spot a cheeky reference to a certain very popular sponge who lives in a pineapple under the sea. Those of you who never followed the insanely famous cartoon on Nickelodeon, we're referring to SpongeBob SquarePants. If you look closely at the Wraith's table when Master Chief and Quan meet up with the crazy hermit and former Covenant prisoner, you'll see a small model shaped exactly like Squidward's home in Bikini Bottom. The animated adventures of the aquatic sponge are up on Paramount Plus to stream, and the platform has been tucking away fun references here and there to market the good old cartoon. It's pretty likely that this is the first of many clever SpongeBob references to come in the Halo series. After all, this little sponge and his friends have been around since 1999. With roughly 270 episodes and 3 feature films, you could say the Halo showrunners have a proverbial goldmine of Easter eggs to choose from, but will they actually continue to sneak in these little nods to Bikini Bottom? We'll just have to keep our eyes open. The planet Madrigal. The show kicks off on Madrigal, a planet that's one of humanity's outer colonies and is about a major hub for the rebel forces in their fight against the UNSC. The series showed it to be pretty barren, only for occasional mining colonies. Of course, peace doesn't last long in the Halo franchise, and soon we see a surprise attack by the Covenant, shattering everything in its wake and killing all but one survivor of the colony. If you're new to the franchise, then you're probably only just figuring out the many planets in the series that you're not alone. The little planet won't ring any bells, even for the die-hard Halo gamers. Turns out, Madrigal wasn't handpicked from the video game source material. The live-action series put in front and center for the first time, but the planet has in fact made an appearance in the franchise before. Madrigal had a significant role in the Halo spin-off novels, especially in Joseph Stanton's Halo Contact Harvest and Tobias Buckle's Halo The Cole Protocol. Originally, it's one of the first planets that the infamous Covenant glassed. For those of you new to the Halo lingo, it's basically genocide, an orbital attack that wipes off all life from a planet and leaves it essentially uninhabitable. For now, the show's version of Madrigal is slightly different from the books, as it remains unglassed by the Covenant even though they're well into the war. Considering the series' heavy focus on the planet, it seems it's only a matter of time before the original fate of the planet catches up with it. A little interesting fact about Madrigal, it's actually been around since before Halo. The planet has its origins in an early game called Myth, which was created by Halo developer Bungie. However, that Madrigal wasn't some planet, instead it was a prominent city, the Covenant's weapons and gear. The premiere episode of the series dove right into a fierce battle between the Covenant's Shanghai elites and Silver Team. It was a pretty smart move if you think about it. The showrunners gave a glimpse into the kind of action fans could expect from the rest of the episodes. Apart from setting expectations early on, the first episode also featured a bunch of references to the Halo video games, and you'll find most of them in the Covenant's weapons and sci-fi gears. Let's start with the Shanghai armor. The armor itself is a tad bit different in the show, but that's just one of the very few design divergences we can let go of. However, the weapons and shields are pretty spot on right down to the last detail. Anyone who has played the Halo games on the higher difficulty levels knows just how amazing the Elite's shields are. The Madrigal Militia's bullets have nothing on them. Of course, they're more susceptible to plasma weapons. The Plasma Plus series has done an incredible job at keeping the details of the shield from the game. Another weapon that made its way into the live-action series is the Covenant's classic weapon, Plasma Pistol. There's this one shot that looks like it's been taken straight out of the game, when one of the Silver Team Spartans fires a charged shot at a Shanghai and can see the top of the gun pop open to vent the heat, just as it does in the video game. Now that's detail. The heads-up display. Aside from the sci-fi weaponry and action-packed sequences, the Halo franchise is pretty big on awkward first-person sequences. They're pretty common common in video games, and if you thought the series would break the trend, boy were you wrong. Hardly 10 minutes into the first episode, the camera puts us inside Master Chief's helmet, leaving us with a heads-up display that'll give you the full video game feel. The HUD literally shows everything you see in the Halo game, from the radar in the bottom corner to the targeting reticles. It gets a little silly, to be honest, but that doesn't stop the showrunners from throwing us in there through the madrigal battle. The first-person perspective is pretty obvious callback to the game, but there's another more subtle Easter egg hidden in there that you might have missed. If you remember the episode, Master Chief takes a pretty heavy hit of plasma fire at one point, which ends up depleting his energy shield. We see him quickly take cover as he waits for his shields to come back. This scene is a clever nod to the mechanics of the Halo games, which were among the first to introduce the whole concept of regenerating shields instead of your traditional health packs. The series also uses the exact same audio cues as the games, so the sound effects of the shield being broken and then coming back will sound familiar to fans of the game. Another video game logo. Remember the Keystone, the one Master Chief and Silver Team find during their investigation of the Covenant ship? There's another very hidden Easter egg in that scene. You'll have to look closely at the scene where Master Chief touches the Keystone and activates it. An interesting symbol appears soon after, a nondescript circle within a circle. Turns out the symbol is actually a logo for a video game. Marathon was another one of Bungie's creations before Halo came along. In fact, the Marathon logo appears a bunch of times throughout the series. Interestingly enough, in many ways, Marathon is similar to Halo. You'll find similar themes of colonization of space, alien wars, and even rogue AI in the older video game. Bits of the original score. The Halo soundtrack is arguably one of the best parts of the franchise. We know it's a tall claim considering how influential the video game has been in other areas like gameplay mechanics and other online multiplayer, for example, but the original score sits right up there with those achievements. Now, the Halo series is scored by Sean Callery, who's also given us the scores to Showtime's thriller Homeland and ABC's superhero drama Jessica Jones. While his composition for the adaptation came out pretty nice, you'll notice that it still includes bits and pieces of the original soundtrack by O'Donnell. The origins of Cortana. Most of the third episode focuses on the creation and the early operations of Dr. Catherine Halsey's popular AI, Cortana. Fans of the games and practically anyone with a Windows device knows that name all too well. Her origin story, however, is not exactly well known. The Halo series has plucked the story about her creation from the books, and looks like they're really sticking to the original canon. Much like the show, the Halo books describe the process of flash cloning, which is how we got Cortana in the first place. It's a method of creating human organs from DNA samples, but the showrunners didn't only take references from the books. In both the series and the games, Halsey uses a digitized version of her own cloned brain to build up Cortana. And that about wraps up our video for today, folks. Which of the details did you miss out on in the Halo series? Are you happy with the game to TV show adaptation? Let us know in the comments section down below. Be sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.